Atomic Heart is without a doubt one of the weirdest games I have ever played. If you've been on TikTok lately, you've probably seen clips of Atomic Heart floating around that, well, let's be honest, do a pretty good job of showing how weird this game really is.
What the fuck? Fuck me!
Oh, what a stud! I can't get enough of you, Jocks. Let me tie you to the bed, baby.
But in my opinion, that's what makes this game stand out. In what other game can you interact with a refrigerator that is unbelievably horny? Anyways, with how weird this game is though, it is still a solid game worth playing. And while I haven't quite finished the game yet, I'm not even close to the end, I still wanted to make this review anyways, which if you read the title, is spoiler free, seeing as I haven't finished the story yet. I'm not really gonna be talking about the full story since I'm probably gonna save that for the spoiler review, so if you're here for the story, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on the part 2 of this video, or go to another review. I don't really care. What I'll primarily be talking about in this review though is gameplay, graphics, etc, etc. Anyways, without further ado, here's a spoiler free review of Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart is set in a place called Facility 3826, which is the Soviet Union's foremost scientific research lab in an alternate 1955. This game essentially makes fun of the Soviet Union and Russia, so the whole thing I've been seeing on Twitter of people saying this game supports Russia and is propaganda for Russia just completely goes out the window, because it's a complete parody of the Soviet Union and Russia as a whole. This game also does a really good job of immersing you in this incredible looking world. I believe this is Mundfish's first game as well, so they did a pretty good job putting this whole game together. The voice acting, unlike Forspoken, is not cringe and is actually pretty entertaining.
Morning, Dr. Sechenov. I slept fine. Awaiting orders.
How do you like the new glove?
Better than the old one. It's growing on me.
I'd expect nothing less.
You've been ordered to the laboratory, Comrade Major. There's a turbine waiting for you at the airway. Are your orders clear?
Crystal, get off my case already.
I'm pleased to hear you don't have any questions, for once.
The game doesn't take itself too seriously, and the voice acting kind of reflects that. One gripe I do have with the voice acting though, is that the characters talk a lot, which can lead to the characters talking over each other. Opening menus or doing certain actions can also lead to dialogue just being interrupted, which sucks if you end up missing something important being said by one of the characters, all because you open a menu or something. Other than that, I really love the voice acting. As for the graphics and performance, which in 2023 has become an even bigger factor when it comes to buying a game on PC, to be quite honest with you, the game looks and runs great. I was running the game at max settings on my RTX 2060 12GB, and the game didn't stutter once. I believe I did drop frames a couple times in certain areas, but those moments were few and far between, and my frame rate would just go back to normal pretty quickly. Unfortunately, however, there is no ray tracing support on PC or console at the moment, which does suck, especially when it was a promised feature all the way back in 2019. But if all they're doing is refining it to make the gameplay experience better when having it on, I'm all for it. Mundfish overall seems to have a pretty good idea of what they're doing when it comes to optimization, something I wish some AAA developers took note of. As you can tell, I had a lot of good things to say about this game. It looks great, plays great, runs great, and to top it all off, it's on Game Pass for PC and console, so if you have Game Pass, you don't even have to spend a single cent to play this game. However, the game isn't perfect. It does have some pretty glaring issues, which I'd like to talk about. So real quick before I talk about the actual issues of the game, there's one thing that I realized I forgot to mention while editing this video, and that's the soundtrack. The soundtrack for this game is the best thing I have ever heard. I know I forgot to mention the soundtrack in the Payday 2 video, so I'm not going to make the same mistake in this video. If you guys want to listen to the full soundtrack, I'll have a link to playlist in the description, but just take a listen to the song that's playing in the background right now. Thankfully, this game has more positives than negatives, so this part won't be very long for the most part, but I do have issues with this game. For instance, the combat. Holy hell, Combat in this game is the most tedious thing I have ever seen. Enemies take a barrage of hits and bullets to kill, and you're constantly getting attacked while being pretty much defenseless because you feel like you're not doing much of anything. When starting the game, you get an axe, which is pretty decent at first, but what the game doesn't tell you, however, is that you also get a shotgun. When I was playing the game last night, I had no idea I had a shotgun. I was just using the axe the whole time, and man, was it a pain to use. The shotgun makes things so much easier compared to the axe, since you don't have to get up close to the robots to damage them, which is a huge lifesaver. Fighting these damn robots is a pain in the ass. There's this red circle that shows up on the robots that lets you know when to dodge their powerful attacks, which does work most of the time, but if you're fighting multiple robots at once, forget about it. The dodge mechanic will get you killed more than anything. Oftentimes, depending on where you're at in the game, you'll find yourself getting stuck after dodging, then end up getting trapped by several robots until they eventually beat you to death. This is my biggest complaint with the game. Another complaint I have is the checkpoints fucking suck. When I was planning to get gameplay for this video, I reached a checkpoint which literally spawned me in front of a camera, which I forgot to mention at the start of this video, so I'll mention it now. The cameras absolutely suck. Essentially, if one sees you, it'll turn red. This will send all the robots in the area your way to kill you. If you run and hide though, the camera will go back to normal and the robots will forget everything even happened. If you shoot the camera, however, a robot will end up fixing it, so you better be quick with killing other robots. Anyways, fuck the cameras. One other complaint I have is that the game will literally stop you in your tracks almost every second it gets to tell you about something, and once you see these little prompts, you have to view them every time. So let's say you die after you've already seen the little tutorial prompt. If you die and the game sends you back to a checkpoint before you saw the tutorial prompt, once you get to that point where you saw it before when you were alive, you have to see that tutorial prompt again. I wish the game didn't do this because it slows down the game exponentially. It's not a huge deal, it's just a minor complaint that I had. One last complaint I have with the game is that it can get pretty tedious. At the beginning of the game, it's very reliant on having you do puzzles. Apparently, this slows down once you get into the semi-open world portion, but these puzzles can be annoying when the game constantly throws enemies at you during certain points when all you want to do is get a puzzle done. If Atomic Heart ever does get a sequel, I hope this is one of the things that gets fixed. Atomic Heart, even with its flaws, is still worth buying in my opinion. Or like I mentioned earlier, if you have Game Pass, I highly recommend downloading it. The game's only about 15 hours long, so it doesn't take too long to complete, which is nice if you don't have a whole lot of time in your hands. The game is $60, so at its current price point, I suggest maybe waiting for a sale, since it does have some pretty big issues. But if you want to spend that $60 on the game, that's entirely up to you. Anyways guys, with that, that's going to wrap things up for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, consider dropping a like and subbing to the channel for more retrospectives and game reviews like this one. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
Я так хочу, чтобы лето не качало.